I am excited to introduce Danna Staaf next. Danna is an author, artist, and marine biologist. She earned her Ph.D. studying baby squid and writes award-winning books, some of which are back there, about nature for readers of all ages. Her most recent book is Nursery Earth, The Wondrous Lives of Baby Animals and the Extraordinary Ways They Shape Our World. Please welcome Danna.
There we are. Thank you so much. Let me see if I poke this. That looks cool. I like it. Oh, no worries. Here we are. Thank you so much, Lindsay and Sam, for organizing this. The other speakers, I'm just still like, I just want to be in the audience. And then I was like, oh no, wait, I have to give this part. So, all right, here I am. I thought I'd actually take a moment to just tell a super abbreviated biography, because the way I went from being an academic squid biologist to being a book author really has a lot to do with empathy, with the whole theme of this panel. I was in graduate school for 6 years doing work on squid sex in babies. I was doing in vitro fertilization, collecting eggs and sperm, putting little petri dishes full of baby squid under a microscope to see how they swam and what they ate. And I really enjoyed a lot of it. But I found by the time I was wrapping up my PhD and publishing papers that the parts of those 6 years that I had enjoyed the most were when I took a break from the lab and we had a school visit. We had a group of kids come to our lab and I would take them around and let them touch some animals and talk to them about what they already knew and answer some questions. Or times that I'd been able to write something just for a common audience, like I'd written for a local newspaper or written for just the newsletter for the school, and tried to translate what I was doing into terms that would feel relevant and interesting to people. And I realized that that was a whole job that I could have. It was different from being a scientist. And so I decided, when I finished, I just planted my flag and I said, I am now a freelance science communicator, whatever that means. Which basically means that I get to keep doing that stuff that I really love. And I think that what drew me to it and still makes me feel so grateful every day that I get to do this is fundamentally empathy, feeling like there are sometimes missing connections between the incredible work that scientists do, discovering things about our world, about ourselves, about the animals and plants that we share it with, and people who would be interested in learning that, who would feel it as relevant to their lives, as informative to the choices they make, if only there was a connection, if only there was a way to learn about it that wasn't reading incredibly dense papers with titles that have colons in them and then parentheses and then, you know. And so that's where I am. I feel like I'm in the restaurant of science, I get to be the waiter. So I'm not the chefs behind the scenes, that's the scientists cooking up and doing that incredible work, learning and developing things. I get to go to the table and talk to everybody in the whole world, hopefully, because I like to work with school-age children and even younger, as well as with adults, and in translation in different languages as well, and find out, like, what are you needing? What are you hungry for? And how does that overlap with our menu of what we know, of what scientists are finding out, and like hopefully plate it up and serve it in a way that's interesting and makes connections for people. So the first book that I wrote was all about squid and octopuses, because that's where my passion lies, and that was what brought Sam and I together, was our joint obsession with octopuses. And so one of the books back there is a zine about octopuses that's full of awesome octopus comics, courtesy of Sam, and some octopus science that I wrote about actually in my first book. And I've written a book of biography, and I've written, there's another book that's about putting the science in fiction, which is another way that I feel like just connects again with a lot of what Sam was talking about at the beginning, that one of the ways that people learn about the world, the real world that we're in, is through fiction, because that can really build our empathy, being involved in a story, falling in love with characters and other worlds and things. And then this is my most recent book, Nursery Earth. And it's all about animal babies. There are some octopus babies in it. You can see the one in the little corner there on the front. And I didn't pick the title because because babies help people empathize with nature. I'll get in the next couple of minutes, as I show you some more pictures and tell you some more stories, I'll get into why I picked it, because of just how cool animal babies are. But I thought I would start by asking, who here likes human babies? It's okay that not all hands go up, and not everybody intrinsically loves human babies. I will confess that before I had human babies, I would not have put my hand up in answer to that question. But here's another question. Who thinks baby cats are cute? Who likes kittens? I think that's pretty universal. Again, no judgment if you didn't put your hand up. Not everybody likes kittens, but do you like this kitten? This is my cat. He's 15 now, but this is a picture of when he was a baby. And so babies are cute. We're fundamentally wired up. This is in those chunks of brain that Sam was talking about. To find them adorable, to feel like we need to help them, we need to care for them. And this is one of the first ways that animal babies are amazing, because this is how they get the care they need. They have evolved to be perfectly shaped, perfectly sized, to make a perfectly piercing cry that you cannot sleep through, to get the care that they need from their caregivers. In the case of the kitten, it might be its cat parents, or it might be its human family. Cats have developed incredibly good ways of talking to their humans to get what they need. In the upper right is a baby echidna called a puggle. Yes. They're actually called puggles because baby echidnas and platypuses are both called puggles. People researching them saw a plush animal called a puggle in a store, like a toy store had these plush animals. And they were like, those look kind of like baby echidnas, so we're going to call those puggles too. That's how cute they are. They're named for their cuteness. In the bottom right is an animal baby that's a little more polarizing. That's a baby condor, and I'm just curious, show of hands, who finds that adorable. You are all correct. It is adorable. But again, no judgment if it doesn't speak to you, because it doesn't need to. It needs to speak to its condor parents. And it's very good at that. Very good at getting its condor parents to come back with their bellies full of scavenged meat, regurgitate it directly into their mouths, get them all the care that they need. So animal babies are great at getting the care that they need from their parents. But something else that I really wanted to emphasize about them was the fact that we see them and we think, whether we are human parents or animal parents, I need to care for this, I need to care for the earth maybe, because these are the creatures that are going to inherit it. We need to take care of their future. And the point is, they already own the planet. It doesn't happen when they grow up. Most of the animals on the planet are already babies at any given time. And that's because animals reproduce at a greater than replacement rate. So whether it's a nest of eggs with 2 parents and 5 eggs, or a mother opossum, I like that we've got a little possum theme going on, with her 8 to 12 babies hanging on her back, or a clownfish. Does anybody remember the opening scene of Finding Nemo? Totally realistic, except for the part where Marlin didn't turn into a female after he lost his mate, but that's right, that's neither here nor there. They do, in fact, have thousands and thousands of eggs, which is the point that I'm making here. And then we've got this beautiful spiral in the bottom there. That's a squid egg mass with thousands of baby squid in it. So at any given moment, there's way more baby squid than adult squid in the world. There's way more baby fish than adult fish, baby birds than adult birds. And so it's just fascinating to think about the fact that that's already, at any given moment, that's most of the animals that are in the planet. And they're not just passively sitting there waiting for their parents to bring them food. In fact, in most cases, they're feeding themselves. And so on average, when you look across all of the animals out there, the babies are very independent, they're very good at eating, and they actually do a lot more eating than their parents do, especially when you get into insects. So has anybody had a garden that got eaten by a bunch of caterpillars? Those are all babies, insect babies. In fact, a lot of insects barely eat as adults. They do most of their eating and growing as babies, and we see that impact on our crops, on our gardens. Most pests of crops are baby insects. And in fact, whole forests have been demolished by baby insects. This is an ash tree that was killed by a borer beetle, but a beetle larva, a baby. And so babies all over the world are shaping the world around them with their eating, with their growing, with their interactions with each other, which is the last little story I want to tell. So all of these caterpillars that eat so many crops, people use pesticides, they use all kinds of things, but one of the most effective methods of controlling them is with wasps. And this is an adult wasp who's not very good at doing much of anything except laying eggs. But if she lays her eggs inside a caterpillar, her babies are these perfect little agents of biocontrol. And they'll multiply inside that caterpillar and eat the caterpillar from the inside out. I'm going to show a gross picture and then a cool picture, and then I'll move to the next slide. So brace yourselves. This is a caterpillar full of baby wasps. So many babies. And this is what happens when they grow up. They make little cocoons and they leave the caterpillar very dead, and they fly off to lay their eggs in other caterpillars. Okay, we'll move on. Sorry about that. Moving on. Okay. So who thinks the baby wasps are cute? Oh, you guys! That's awesome. Okay, that's awesome. Totally understand that very few people raise their hands. It's okay. My point here is that babies, sometimes we think they're super cute and we would do anything to protect them. Even the condor, think of what California and all of the conservation that went into bringing the condor back. And sometimes we think they're horrifying, and we would like to squish all of them completely forever. But the thing is, the babies themselves are not good or bad. They're just doing what babies do. We're surrounded by them. They're going to do what they're going to do. They're also, in addition to eating everything everywhere, they're going to spread because babies are really good at spreading. And so here are just two examples of that. Coral. So coral as an adult can't move at all, but as a baby, it can actually swim. Baby corals can be transported at great distances, and that's why this map is showing us all of the shaded parts of the ocean are coral reefs. And the reason that corals have spread over that much of the ocean is because of their babies. And so we can think of that as a good thing when a coral reef that's been devastated by warming or a storm or many other impacts of climate change can get recolonized by the babies coming in. We're like, oh, that's good, that's so great, good for the baby corals. And then we have something like zebra mussels, which are an invasive species in North America and many places in Europe, also because of the babies. Because again, a grown-up mussel isn't going to walk around anywhere. But the babies can swim, and they can be carried in ship ballast water across the oceans and diversify and spread everywhere. And we go, okay, that's bad. We don't like the mussel babies. And they cause problems, and they clog up in water intake and everything. But my take-home message here is that the babies are doing this to build the future. Their whole being is to survive, to eat, to grow, to settle in a new habitat. And we are not in this alone. And I feel like that's both a huge responsibility and honestly a source of comfort. Because we look at this kind of capacity that animals have, especially in their young forms, and we go, like, yes, we can empathize with these animals, maybe a little bit easier with the kittens than with the caterpillars, and feel this responsibility of, like, we need to help their future Earth be the best that it can be. But we can also feel like it's not only us working on that, because animals are constantly adapting to their environments. And a lot of it is happening at this stage where each animal parent is producing dozens to millions of babies. And those are spreading their genes, they're finding new habitats, they're adapting to whatever new changes in their environment are coming along. And it's forming this future that hopefully will have both octopuses and humans and many, many, many other species in it. And I just feel like that idea that we're not just the only ones creating the future planet, all of the other life that we share the planet with is working on it too. I find that really encouraging. Thank you so much.